Good morning. Today is the 5th of June 2024 and I'm going to go over my trading plan for today. Before we start, let's take a look at the news. We do have some news coming in today. 9:45 we've got the S&P Composite PMI followed by the ISM PMI at 10. So they are potential market movers. So 9:45 to 10, so if you're in a position, be a bit wary. The big one's at 10 o'clock, but we could see some movement at 9:45. Got some oil news coming in, 10:30, and then we've got the 17-week bill auction, shouldn't do much. So if you're in oil as well, keep an eye on oil at 10:30. Okay, let's go to the levels for today. On my screen is the 1 hour ES time frame, and we can see we've had a bit of a run up in the pre-market and we've coming into an area of supply right now, and we've broken through. We're coming into this volume on the volume profile tool. We've got quite a lot of volume over on the left hand side as well, so we may find it a little bit harder to get past this area. Just wait for my pen to load so I can mark it out on the chart. It doesn't seem to want to. There we go. So this area here we've been watching for a potential rejection. It's still on the cards. 53.32 is the top end of that area, and we've got volume, this volume shelf up in this area as well. So we've got quite a lot of confluence as well. Bottoms of candles, tops of candles, and then an area of confluence there. So I'm kind of expecting a bit of a rejection in this area. So I'm watching 53.31 down to where we are right now for the rejection. And you can see last time we came up to that area, we had a big rejection, we had this big move down. So keep an eye on this area, we are right at that area. So it's higher risk if we take it early. And what I really want to see is see where we are after 10 o'clock today, after the news drop, to see whether we can take it after the news for the rejection. One of my areas I'm really watching for, my prime area, is this area we've been watching for a while, and it's the tops of Friday and Monday and the tops of yesterday's high. So what I want to see it come back in, pull into that area, maybe off of this hourly trend line as well, and see a bit of a bounce. So I quite like the bounce at 53.12 down to 53.10. That's the area, but I'll consider this entire area for a bounce. And that's it. I really want, we really want to try and go with the hourly trend. You can see we're putting in this flag pattern, and remember I drew in. We had this, and let's just get straight line. So we had this pattern yesterday, which we were watching, and it held the bottom trend line, and we made a first attempt to break it and we rejected it, coming exactly bounced off the bottom trend line before we broke through, came all the way back and retested it, and then bounced back up again. So that's a big retest, and we're looking pretty bullish now. We've broken over Tuesday's highs and yesterday's high. That yesterday's pivot was the highs at the time, and we've now broken over the highs we made from Friday and from Monday as well. But like I said, we are coming into an area of volume, and it might be tough to crack this area. So I'm watching this area for a rejection. I'm watching this area for a bounce. If we do carry on and we see buyers come in, and we obviously got this area here, which I've not marked up, 53.40, that's a potential rejection area. Let's just put a level there anyway, so we can see how that is tomorrow if we get there. The next area to watch for rejection is this area. We've got tops of candles, and we haven't really tested it apart from when we made a new all-time high, came back into that region, made another all-time high, and then it just died. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get up to 53.50. It's an area, we've talked about that area a few times over the last few weeks, so watching that area for a reject. So I probably would prefer this reject over this reject, but I'll be watching it. And obviously if we get up into the all-time highs territory, 53.60 to 53.70, we can look for a rejection up there. But wait for confirmation. I'll be waiting. If I'm looking for a rejection, I'm not going to take levels. I used to just layer in at the levels, but now I'm trying to be a bit more patient and wait for an actual change of trend. So if we see it coming up into these areas and wait for it to come in, rather than me try and take it there or there and average in, I want to see it break the trend and then put in a bit of a reversal candle back up into that area. Maybe put in a reversal pattern, like a lower high before it breaks back down, and I want to be trying to get in maybe there or potentially up in this area there. So that's really what I'm looking for if we see it coming up into that area. And that's not just all-time highs, that would be this area here and this area here as well. So I want to see it break the trend, because I've realised watching it break the trend gives it a higher probability that it's going to work, probably up in the 70-80%, whereas just averaging in, not only do you go against your drawdown a little bit, but I think there's a lower probability because you haven't got confirmation the trend is going to break. Like this trend here, you can see it came in, pushed back up. So if I got in there, I would have stopped it. I think I probably did take one of these levels, and then it came in and we just waited for it and just waited for it to break down. So that's really what I'm watching. If we do see a big sell-off and we do break down this hourly trend, then I quite like the breakdown and the pull back into pre-market low or 52,300, that area there for the rejection. On the subject of 5300, let's look at SPX. I'm only want to go long on that pullback if. So we're going to open up above 5300 on SPX because we gapped up today, and I'll be watching 5300 for the bounce as well on SPX. So if SPX comes into that area and ES is also coming down into that area, we was watching for the bounce. Let's just go back. It seems slow loading these charts. So if ES comes into 5312 area, that would be a perfect place for a long. But I'll be watching, let's just open up SPX on this chart. But I will be watching SPX at the same time. Oh, that one there. Sorry about this. So 5300 on SPX, I'm watching for the retest and the bounce. And obviously I'll be watching 5312, will be a similar area on the ES. So and that's it really. If we do break down and break this trend line, we potentially have yesterday's low as a bounce point, so we can watch 50 to 70 area for bounce, this entire region. Area of confidence values, the tops of candles, bottoms of these candles, and then obviously we've got 52.50 as well. We watched for a bounce. Last time we came down there, big reaction, and we had a bit of a reaction there, broke through it, and we haven't really retested that area apart from Monday. Okay, let's look at SPY next. So SPY, pretty extended. Let's look at the daily as well and look at some volume as well while we're here. So we had this reversal candle on volume. We've had a hammer candle, again not as much volume, which shows a little bit of weakness, and we haven't been able to get SPY. Where is SPY at the moment? Is it 528, 530? So we are above yesterday's high, which is not shown on the daily, but it does show a little bit of weakness here. But you know, it is a bit of a reversal. We came down, volume was quite low, so potentially we're just taking time off the clock in this area to see where we're going to put in a new all-time high. And yesterday's volume, what's that? Is that yesterday? Yeah, Tuesday's volume is even lower, and that's on a green day as well. So we're getting, yeah, I think we've got this area of confidence up here, 55.30. So let's see what that looks like on the hourly. 5.30, that's where we are right now. So, and that's where the point of control is as well. So let's come up with some SPY levels. If we come back down into yesterday's high, we can watch that 5.29 for the bounce, that area there. 531.50, 531.43 is the actual level. I've got this area here. I quite like that for the rejection. You can see it's a big area. There's a bit of volume below it. So 531.43 for the rejection, and then we're up into all-time highs again. And we've got that area 53 to 50, 30, so 533 to 534 up here for the rejection as well. But I don't like rejecting all-time highs because there's nothing above, so I like to put my stop in decent places. Ideally, it pulls back and we continue to trend up, and we're in it and we're adding to the trade. Let's get rid of that one. We'll keep this trend line in. Let's just update it a bit to there. And that's it really. So we can watch that, and then bounce wise, if we come back down into 50, if we break this trend line, we can watch the bounce down at 525.80 to 525 area for a bounce, and that's my favourite bounce on SPY. So SPX we've just looked at. Oh, let's make it bigger. SPX 5300 is the key level. If we come back into that, we can watch for a bounce. If we break down below 5300, we could be looking at this as just a pullback, and we can watch for bounces down at 5210. So probably watch these levels we've got from yesterday. Okay, so let's go on to oil next. Oh, sorry, NQ. So we're right at a point right now. Pre-market high is actually an area watching for a potential rejection. Plenty of volume in that area as well, so it's hard. There's no real. If I were to find another level above, it will be this area here. So we can watch 18,871 to 880 for the rejection. Again, if we pull back down into the level we were watching yesterday, 18,870.85, around this, or yesterday's high, we can watch yesterday's high for a bounce down here. If we pull back down into that area, watch it for the bounce. Volume wise, a point of control is right down here as well. So pre-market low, we can watch that area for a bounce. Excuse me, for a bounce as well. And we can use this point of control, this extra area of volume as a potential stop. And we've got the 50 moving average coming up into that area as well. Let's look at QQQs. Yeah, we're coming into a rejection point again, where we are now. Other than 460 to 462, I can't really see anything better. We can watch 457, 458 area for a rejection, maybe a break and retest long. We can watch both positions there. So if we stop, if the market pulls back a bit in the next quarter of an hour, we can look for break and retest of pre-market high. Potentially you could watch it for a bit of a rejection, bit of volume, a bit of a volume shelf there, but not much. But it is an area of confluence. We haven't tested it recently for a few days, and then we've got all-time highs, so it's not as good as ES. Bounce wise, the only bounce I can see is back down in this area, 452 to 454, and obviously we've got the levels we marked out yesterday as well. Okay, now crude oil. Let's go on the daily first. So this is the weekly. That's nice to have a look, see where we are on the weekly. I'm just looking at this potential pattern. Look at that pattern there on the weekly. I wonder if we can do something like that here. Let's just put those two pivots together there. So we've got this wedge pattern on the weekly, which we've been kind of going between. Where do we go next? We could watch for a bounce off here. We're narrowing down and look like we might want to make a big move either that way or that way. Been in a bit of a downtrend, went sideways, a downtrend, kind of uptrend, So hard to judge which way it's going to go. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's go down to the daily, look at some volume. One thing, that weekly volume was declining as well. So let's go back to weekly. Weekly volume's declining as the price is declining. So maybe showing a little bit of weakness in the selling right now. So maybe watch that area for a bounce. That area is 71. So let's go into the daily. And funny how it tells a different picture. The daily is showing an increase in volume, while we're decreasing price, showing more strength on the sellers. So this is a key level we've been watching for some time. It's been a key level for a long time actually, going back to last year, going back actually all the way through to 2022. We finally broke that level, so really want to see it come back on the daily for a retest. That'd be good, and then watch it continue down the downtrend. Let's find an hourly. There's no bounce areas for a while on daily. Hourly, potential reversal pattern. Putting in a low, then a higher low, made a new high, a new higher high. So we can watch for the break and retest of yesterday's high to continue this 1 day hourly uptrend. Yesterday's high, anything below that could be the stop, but we're kind of below that at the moment. So let's keep an eye on that. If we come down between the pre-market low and yesterday's low, we can watch for a double bottom. Or, as you can see, volume's declining. We could be just looking at a bit of a downward move and a bit of a flag. So let's keep an eye on that. If we break below yesterday's pre-market low, yesterday's low, maybe we can watch for a potential continuation down. And if we pull back onto yesterday's high, we can watch for the long. Let's just zoom out, see if there's anything we can look at. Look at the volume, there's a big volume void where we're heading into. We broke through that void, we talked about that a few days ago. Beautiful breakdown. And now we're coming back in the next area of volume. It's not until we get back up into this area again. So I still quite like, we didn't really retest that area when we broke down. You can see we came right down and we just sold off. So what I really want to see it come back up into this region, 76 to 77 for a watch for a short. So probably until it gets up there, there's not a great deal. You could take the break and retest or the pre-market high, knowing that we've got a little bit of resistance above and a bit of volume comes in, 75. But that's it really. Got this trend line from the weekly. $72 down to 71. We'll watch that area for a bounce as well. Okay, gold. Glorious gold. You can see a bit of a pattern forming here as well. Let's just draw it in. This area here like that. We've got a double bottom down here as well. So maybe there, looks a nice bounce. We put its double bottom in. So what we can watch for in gold is a bit of a break and retest of the pre-market high into this region. Pretty extended. I think if it pulls back to yesterday's high, we can watch out for a bounce. And if we come back down to the recent pivots, we have plenty of volume down in those areas as well. So we watch for a bounce down at yesterday's low for a treble bounce. Down here at 23.36. But we could be looking at a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. Neckline could be the point of control where we are now. So we can watch for a break and retest of both the pre-market high and this trend line. So 23.70 to 23.76 break and retest. That's my favourite watch on here right now. And maybe we watch for the bounce down in this area. That's it really. Let's just look at the daily. When you look at the daily, it looks a lot different. It looks more bullish. You know, we're like looking for rejections down here. But look, we've broken all-time highs. Yep. So we've broken these pivots, which we talked about a few times, came back and retested that area, bounced back up again. So where are we now? I do quite like the bounce around this area again. So something we just discussed a minute ago. Watch for a bounce down there. And then we've got our rejection points as well at 24.70. Let's go back to the hourly. And look, we've got that slightly figures off at the daily level in there as well. So we can watch, that's why I've now I've seen the daily, I do prefer watching, I want to watch a bounce down at 23.36 on gold. Okay, so that's gold. Let's look at RTY. Still trading within this channel we drew in. At the bottom of the channel here, we haven't retested down here yet, so that's a bounce area we can watch potentially around here. We've got this area confluence here, tops of candles, there's a bottom over here as well. So we can also watch this middle channel as well for a bounce. And also we can watch for the break and retest. If you watched before, I always say if we're in the upper end of this double channel, then we look more bullish, and we're kind of not broken down into this section yet. So we're looking pretty bullish if we stay in this area, and we probably want to see it break out. So break and retest of pre-market high, get above the 50 moving average, and we can use our first target can be that trend line, and maybe that if you look at this 200 moving average, it's running down that trend line as well. So a good place to get out, and then maybe the break and retest of the trend line. No rejections really, unless we get up into this area here at 2094 to 2100. That's an area of confluence as well. Okay, YM. Oh yeah, I like this. Okay, so if we break out a pre-market high, I would like to see it break out, come back and retest pre-market high, and then we can watch for the breakout. Makes it even better because we've got a pivot there, the pivot there, and we've broken the first pivot. We just need to break Friday. I think that Friday's pivot. My alert's already in place. I've been watching this for a while, so we're looking for the breakout and the retest long. You can draw the trend line in there as well. And if it comes back down onto this area, pre-market low, we can watch, or even the 200 moving average, we can watch for a bounce. No rejections until we get to 39,200. So that's it. I like that. That's the only level I like there. Break and retest long. And then finally Bitcoin. How are we doing with Bitcoin? I look at that. So let's go into the daily for Bitcoin. It's finally broken 71 again. 70. We can see this area of confluence just here at 67,369. So broke it, tested it, broke back out. Now the question is, are we going to break over that recent pivot, 72.50, and continue up high? If we do, then we've got this area to watch for potential breakout, break and retest long. If we pull back down, we've got this area of watch for a bounce as well. So Bitcoin's looking interesting. Got volume coming in over the last few candles as well on the hour, on the daily. Not as good volume, not as much one we've got here, but we could be looking at a new move. So keep an eye on that. We're above all the moving averages as well. Right, that's it. Just quickly look at ES, see where we have been for the last few minutes. I think it's just put in a few green candles, come back into that area, so volume is looking above average. So that's either looking at ending volume, or we've got a lot of interest in that area, or we're looking for a breakout volume. Let's go back to the hourly, look at our levels. Coming right into my area. Wait, I've got an alert sitting at that area, 53, exactly where we are now. So that's to alert me that we're getting to the top of this area of supply. So kind of right into a bounce point. And if I'm going to flick over to the order flow, let's say interest.